This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Nigel Benn here in Florida. Nigel, appreciate you giving up some time tonight. Your son Conor Benn made a successful ring return with a unanimous decision victory there against a very tough and durable Rodolfo Orozco, who sat behind us. Just walk me through what you made of your son's first fight in, 18 months now?
18 months, yeah, I'd take my hat off it, because he could have had somebody that he could bang over. And we think, yeah, he's still got that. He fought a guy who's had 32 fights, 24 stoppages and 3 losses, and never been stopped. And the punches that Conor was throwing, mate, were bouncing off his head. And yet he came back. He didn't sit back. So, yeah, you're not bossing me. And even his coach said, like, if it was 12 rounds, it could have been a different fight. It's just like me saying, if Conor was boxing all the time, would the fight lasted longer? Because Conor's been out nearly 2 years.
Going into this fight, Nigel, I think a lot of people would have expected maybe a few rounds for Conor's return, but to give that kind of explosive finish for his return fight, was you surprised by just how tough and durable Rodolfo was, or was it something you expected?
No, I didn't. Well, when I saw his record, we said he'd never been stopped. And he proved that, because the shots that he was taking, mate, they would have put a lot of middleweights, like middles and middleweights down. And he stood his ground and he come back. He didn't shy away, but it shows you that Conor just had a bit of ring rust. But I was impressed with him. I was impressed, and Conor knew that he weren't going to go out there and try and bang him out and then struggle later on in the rounds. But, done 10 hard rounds. 10 hard rounds. But that was good, though. That's what I wanted. I'm glad that he had that, 10 rounds.
He certainly seemed to hurt Rodolfo throughout the fight, but is there any question marks in your own mind whether or not his power carries up from 147 to 154?
I ain't got to worry about it. You've got to see Conor wobbled him a couple of times. But this is a guy that's not been stopped. Look at his record. It's just like, Eddie wants to sign him as well. So when you look at things like that, you don't look about, can Conor take the power up? 100%. 100%. He just fought a guy that was tough, very tough. We don't want an easy fight. If he moves up to 154 and he fought another guy that's been stopped a couple of times, then we say, well, you know what? He's been stopped a couple of times. What do we say now? He ain't been stopped, and he proved it. And he gave Conor a hard fight. So when you look at it, things like that, we're not just looking at, like, a fight that where Conor can just come in and blow people away. We want to say, you know what? You've got a hard 10 rounder, and it proved tonight.
That word ring rust has been mentioned, and even by yourself there, Nigel. Do you feel like the one thing we could have seen more of from Conor is maybe some body work tonight?
Are you being silly? What do you think on body work? Are you silly? How much body shots did you throw out there? What fight was you watching? Hello? Hey, mate,
Those question marks over.
Hello? Did you see how many body shots Conor was throwing in? On social media, he threw in a lot of body shots. Body, head, bang, bang. Mate, he couldn't throw no more. He done what he had to do. Go and watch the fight. You see how many body shots that he threw in. A lot of body shots. But you know what it is? He done both. Worked the head, worked the body.
How would you rate Conor's performance tonight out of 10?
A 7 for being out for so long. Being out so long for 2 years, and yet going back to it, fighting a tough opponent. I would like to see how some of these British guys like Josh Kelly would deal with someone like that. I would like to see how someone like Josh Kelly would deal with somebody like that. Because if you can't bang, they're not getting nowhere against him. I can tell you that right now, because he'll walk right through. And he proved it tonight that he was getting hit with some heavy shots, and he stood his ground and said, yeah, well, now hold on to this. He was a tough Mexican, mate. Very proud of the guy as well.
You did just exchange a few words there with Rodolfo. What did you say to him?
Well, I said I hope that Eddie signs him. I think that he will go far. And we don't usually, all right, Tone, come here. Can I speak to Tone? Right, yeah, I'm gonna drag him in. No. I want to hear what he just said. Well, on social media, Conor wasn't throwing enough body shots.
He started picking the body shots up as the fight went along, didn't he?
Yeah, of course he did.
But the right hand to the body was crushing in on him, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I just want to say because the thought that I thought Conor was cracking away at the body shots, cracking away, but it went head, body, head, body. But this guy's tough. He's not. You can tell that he's not an easy opponent.
Like Sanderland Williams.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He just wouldn't go away, but he was much more. Sanderline Williams dancing around, but this one, he would have it with Conor, and I think that's what I like about him, and I hope that Eddie does sign him. I think, you know what, him against people like Josh Kelly and all that, mate, people like that, I would like to see other English guys fight him, just to show you how tough he is.
Nigel, obviously I know you arrived into this week later on, but obviously there's been a lot of talk about Conor's return, whether people feel it's right or wrong. Have you spoken to him about that? Has it affected him at all going into Saturday tonight?
No, that's all way behind him. Conor knows that's all behind Conor. That's all behind Conor knows. Conor knows where he stands. It's not that we even worry about. We know. I know my son. Not even worried about that. There's so many things that's gone in boxing that other things have been swept and kept under, kept quiet and all that. So I'm not really going to say much about that because all I want to do is that my son's name has been cleared because even the people that started all this, VADA, let him go to box, and where 1 minute the British, the boxing board don't even recognise VADA, and all of a sudden, oh, this happened, oh yeah, we recognise him now. Yeah, well, I don't want to say the word, but you know. But I know my son.
Obviously, don't want you to say anything out of turn, but just your thoughts on UKAD and the board appealing the decision handed down from the NADP to lift your son's suspension.
Do you know what it is? I know my son's innocent, and you know, regardless, I don't even really want to waste time talking about him. I'm not really interested. I know that it's a kind of agenda that they have against my son. Was it because when I ripped up my license, said up yours back then when they didn't recognise the WBO, and look where the WBO is now? That when I brought it over here.
Final one from me, Nigel. There's a lot of talk about your son and Junior facing off next. Just when you get a message from you.
Sorry, darling.
Oh.
I'm just in an interview. He's just getting stitched up. Here he is now. Yeah, he had one in the back of the head and one in the thing. Pass that to Mum. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, that's okay. You got his duty calls. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, a lot of talk of your son and Junior facing off in December. How big is that fight now?
bigger than Fury and Joshua, I believe. And people said that. They'd rather see this fight because at the end of the day, this is what people want to see. Real fight.
Is that fight and that rivalry now as big as what it was between yourself and Senior?
Nah. Nearly. You can't get bigger than me and Chris. You can't get bigger than Chris, tell you the truth, because you know what he's about. So, it'd be like that though because it's got history.
Junior posted a tweet with a couple of sleeping emojis on the back of tonight's performance. So just
sleeping emojis. Come on. It's just like, you know, the fight with, I was saying when he fought Smith. Smith had two bad angles, falling all over the place, threw 34 punches in the whole 10 rounds. Now, talk about the first fight, completely different. You know, so I know what's what. Let's not talk about it. Just get the contract signed. We'll take you on each day. And Conor said, you can walk out second. You can have your name first on the post. We're not worried about that. We're worried about you getting in there and having a fight and seeing who's best.
Nigel, I appreciate your time now. I know you want to go catch up with your son and look after him. Just one final one. Obviously, I know he's had a couple of stitches tonight. Anything for people to be worried about for moving forwards?
Well, I'm not really worried about what people worried about. I'm worried about more about what Conor. He'll be good, mate. He'll be good. God bless you.